Yeah, Rangers was great. For me, in my career at that age, was probably the center point. Of course, also in other clubs I played, I was lucky to play in many successful teams. So, but Rangers for sure, the whole culture in Scotland, the Rangers Celtic old firm clashes, it's special. And at that time, I was lucky to be on the winning side most of the time, so it was a good time to be there.
The VAR Show. The one place for your weekly football update.
Okay. So hello, very warm welcome to the VAR Show, the show which talks a lot of major football leagues in detail. Today we are going to continue with interviews and we have former Rangers, Groningen and Netherlands winger Mr. Pieter Huistra with us. So without wasting much time, I would like to first thank Peter for coming on the show. Thank you and welcome to the show. And I would like to begin by asking you, how are you and what are you doing these days?
I'm good. I'm with my team Pakhtakor at the moment. We're in Qatar playing the Champions League tournament for the West Division. So we're busy. We're playing a lot of games after the Corona period. So we're happy to be in action again.
Of course, and like you mentioned, you're currently in Doha for the AFC Champions League as assistant manager of FC Pakhtakor. How is football in Uzbekistan?
Football in Uzbekistan is important. It's big. It's probably the number one sport for boys and even now for girls to play. So it's a serious business in Uzbekistan.
How is you have been across a lot of cultures. So how is the structures there? How is the footballing infrastructure in Uzbekistan?
Uzbekistan comes from the Soviet Union, of course, and the infrastructure at that time, they tell me, was good. There was football everywhere on schools, and there were some good clubs. After independence, that disappeared a little bit, especially the school structure. Now they're trying to build it up through clubs, making academies. There's a lot of talent in Uzbekistan, and now it's, I think, most important to structurally get a higher level to improve the academy and to develop players in a better and quicker way.
Of course, and you said how the league is structured well, and it's one of the main sports for the boys over there, and even for everyone enjoys it. How is the quality of the league?
The quality of the league is difficult to compare, I think, with other countries. But in general, it's quite balanced. This year and last year also, Pakhtakor a little bit above all the other clubs. Although every game we still have to fight for it because everybody wants to beat us. So that's in a way good because it keeps us on our toes as well. But last year we won it by a landslide. So that's never good. For us it's good, but for the league in general it's not good. So what we try to, and hopefully happens, is that other clubs also take our lead and pull themselves up to a higher level. So that's hopefully what can happen in the next few years.
Of course, and you have played at the highest level, for many clubs and also for the national team, and also managed for quite a good clubs. Why have you come to Uzbekistan?
Yeah, it's always a coincidence, of course. Shotar Vladze, who started this project in Pakhtakor in Tashkent, he asked me to come, and his story, the project looked good to me, and we're already 3 years working there now. And we started when we came, Pakhtakor, we were number 8 in the league, and last year we won it. This year we're leading, so we play Champions League. So we made a lot of progress, and it's good to see that. And it's nice to have been part of this and still be part of this project, because you can see if you combine knowledge, if you combine local traditions, culture, you select well in the available talent, then you can achieve a lot.
Of course, like you said, like how you won the league last year by a landslide margin. How is it how is it in the Asian Champions League? Where does your team stand?
I think we're getting closer and closer. Last year we were very unlucky in the last group game against Al Ahly. It's one of the better teams in Saudi Arabia. This year we played 2 times in the group against Al Hilal, the reigning champion in Asia. So we drew one and we just lost one in the last second. So we also, I feel we can beat any club at the moment.
Of course, and like like in generally in Asia, how is the quality?
I think the quality is slowly going up, but in other continents it's also going up. In Europe also it keeps progressing. In South America, of course, traditionally it keeps progressing. So the gap between Europe and Asia is quite big, bigger than most people in Asia realize, I think. But it's the case. It's a bigger business. It's a better development system, and that's what Asia in general, even the big countries like Japan, China, they try to catch up, but they're still behind in that way. The whole culture of football in Europe is so much ingrained in the daily life of people in Europe that's difficult to catch up. But you have to keep trying, and Asia has to improve also their structure of especially developing players, developing leagues as well. That's very important.
Of course, like I wanted to ask you, like one of your most like memorable, I think, time during your playing career was, I think, with Rangers. How was your time there?
Yeah, Rangers was great. For me in my career at that age was probably the center point. Of course, also in other clubs I played, I was lucky to play in many successful teams. So, but Rangers for sure, the whole culture in Scotland, the Rangers Celtic old firm clashes, it's special. And at that time I was lucky to be on the winning side most of the time. So it was a good time to be there.
Of course, like you said, like you have been in various cultures and you have played for many successful teams. Like how different are the cultures? Like you have managed somewhere in so many different countries and played in so many different countries. How different are the cultures in terms of football?
Now, the good thing about football, I think, always is the game is the same everywhere in the world. You play 11 against 11. You have the same rules. You have the same tensions. Everybody wants to win. So that's the nice thing about football. It's everywhere the same. But of course, the quality is not everywhere the same, and it's all and that's all relative as well. When I play with my team on the lower level in Japan, a team that's just new, a club that's new, that's developing, we still have our tension and we still want to win every game, and we were very successful in that way. The same when I was a coach at Groningen, for instance. We play at a high level in Holland, and we're successful and we want to win. So that is everywhere. It's the same, but it's all relative. The quality on the one side is maybe a little bit lower in general if you compare. But once you're in it at that level, you feel the same. You still want to win, and you have your players and you prepare them as good as possible. And you want to be more clever than the opponent. And it's a nice dynamics. And you work with people. That's what I love about it. And you try to get the best out of people. And then the level doesn't really matter. And of course, when I'm a Dutchman, of course I have to adapt when I work in Asia. It's different than when I work in Holland. The players react differently, so I have to change when I go to Asia and try to be as effective as possible when I work there. So for me, that's the challenge, and that's also the special part about being a coach.
Of course, another follow-up question I have, like, it might be difficult for you, but like, you have played for so many different successful clubs. But if you had to choose one club where you had the best time, which one would that be?
Yeah, that's always difficult. To be honest, I played at Twente when I was younger, and we were very successful in Holland. I reached the Dutch national team at that period, so we had a very nice group. Also, we were friends together, and that's why we played so well. When I went to Rangers, the same. We were very ambitious, and there was a lot of competition for places in the squad, but still we were friends, and we knew we needed each other to do well. So also successful. I went to Japan, more or less the same story. In Sanfrecce in Hiroshima, also I had a lot of good time there with the players around me, with the coach, with the supporters. We played 2 cup finals over there. So yeah, in a way also we were successful. So it's difficult to pick. If you look at the highest level and how close we got in my Rangers period, how close we got to the Champions League final, then I have to pick Rangers. That was the highest level if you compare them to the other clubs.
Of course. So I'll ask you one question on Rangers. Like, what do you think of them right now? Do you think they'll come close to Celtic this year?
Of course, I think that I'm a Rangers man, so I think that, and they started off okay. So they're getting stronger every year. They had a difficult time when they had the forced relegation because of the financial problems. But they came back, and slowly they will grow back into a real challenger for Celtic, and it's well possible that's already this year it will happen.
So I'll ask you. I have one more follow-up question. That like, generally you see in the Scottish football, you have one phase where only one team wins. Like maybe for 5-6 years you have Rangers winning. For the next 10 years you have Celtic winning. Is there a big gap between maybe the top 2 and the rest of the league?
Yeah, it's if you look at the league tables, the standings from the last few years, it looks like that. It's never been that close. Still, I remember when I was playing there, still you had to battle really hard every game, because even the smaller clubs, they had only, for them it was the most important game in the season against Rangers. So they were always ready for that, and they always fight. So it was never easy, in the sense that you have a walkover. You still had to fight, and you had to battle, and you had to play at a decent level to win these games.
Of course. So like on a personal level, do you have any aspirations or inspiration to go back to Rangers and maybe be a coach one day?
Oh yeah, I always feel that one day will happen. Yeah, but we will see. I feel very strongly that it will happen. So we will see. I think I will do it.
Of course, like staying with the same theme, you have played for many very good managers, and also I've learned from them. Do you have any one particular coach from whom you were influenced the most?
I was lucky. I had some good coaches. I had Rinus Michels. I had Kees Rijvers. I had probably the one that influenced me most was Wim Jansen. Wim Jansen was my coach in Sanfrecce in Hiroshima in Japan. And he more or less instilled the passion for coaching into me when I was still a player with him. He explained things very well. He discussed many things about coaching with me. So he awoke the flame of coaching inside me, and he was the one that really stimulated me to take my coaching licenses and start being a coach. So he was important. Yeah.
Of course. So you mentioned some very like big names there, and I'm very very fascinated. Like I didn't know you you played under Rinus Michels. So how was he?
Yeah, Rinus Michels is a special personality. He doesn't use many words, but the words he uses are strong. That's also a quality. I remember myself being a young coach. You tend to waffle. You tend to struggle how you bring your message in an effective way. And when you can do that in a few words, it's very strong, and the players listen. And that's what I saw when he was doing his talks. So that was certainly remarkable. Coaches who can only use a few words and bring the message, that's strong.
Of course, like I want to ask, like, because he's like usually associated, like being one of the maybe founding, like fathers of maybe the total football that is being played even now with Guardiola. Like, and you are saying that he used to speak very less. How did he convey his message though?
No, yeah, he conveys the message by player talking individual, by showing, for instance, how he wants it done. Maybe at that time when I was playing under him, he had also players like Van Basten, Gullit, Rijkaard already around him, who also had already knowledge how to play. So that's also maybe why he didn't need too many words anymore, because these players already knew what to do anyway. But for me, I came from at that time I played for Twente, and it was really interesting to play in that team and to see how they work together. Well, yeah, that was a big learning experience also for me.
The next question, it's the same. It's a follow up on that, and it might be a very foolish question, but I wanted to ask, like, was he very that smart, like how everyone says, or were the players also very good who could execute what he wanted?
It's always a combination. A good player is smart. A good player knows he needs the team. A good player knows and feels when he has to be maybe a little bit more on the background and let other players shine to get the result. Every game is different. It depends on the opponent. So the good player not always wants to be in the spotlight himself, but knows when to be important, knows when to play well, and knows when to support in another role. So I think that's really the story about good players. The less good players will always want to be in the front. They always want to be in the spotlight, and sometimes their actions do more harm than good for the result. And I think the result always has to be on number one. And you can get the result in many ways, but that's the thing. So you have to be smart in that, and then you have to be able to do it with your feet as well, of course.
And like I'll come back to your coaching career, and you have been a coach also, like with Groningen, as you said, and also a lot of things. So as a coach, since you are already the head coach, how difficult is it for you to become an assistant coach, or like come down a level? Is it a step down?
In a way, if you look at it, it's a step down. It really depends on in what kind of role. In the modern coaching teams, you have you need one guy who is the ambassador, who is the spokesman for your team. So, but then you have to define the role of the assistant. There can be in many. This player just had to get the coffee for the head coach. Then it's not me. I get a lot of freedom here. I get a lot of time on the pitch, work with the players. That's my passion. That's what I want to do. I do all the analysis of the games. That's what I like. That's I think what I'm good in. So I have a good role here. And sometimes it feels like the head coach, and sometimes it feels like the assistant coach. But we do it in a team, and that's also a strong point here at Pakhtakor. And that's also the reason why I'm already doing it for 3 years.
Of course, I wanted to ask you, as a coach, what is your footballing philosophy like? How do you like your team to play?
I'm heavily influenced by the Dutch school, and by Rinus Michels, by Johan Cruyff especially. And the same as Guardiola is influenced by that, by the same school. So in Holland, we like. I still like total football. I think it's especially in the present day, it's the way to do it. More and more teams are doing it, and now you have to find new ways to make it more effective, to give it a little twist here and there. Of course, it depends on which kind of players you work with, how to play it. But total football certainly, tiki-taki control football, that's the way I like to do it.
Of course, so this again, the next question may be like a little bit more dependent on what players you have and what is the condition. But if you had to choose one formation that you would like to implement in a new team, which formation would you prefer?
My preference is certainly 4-3-3, and that can be in many variants. But I believe that's still the best way to divide the field, to divide the pitch, to control most of the pitch, to be compact, to attack, to make it difficult for the opponent to read. So I think that's still, for me, the best one to start off with. But you're right when you say it depends on players. If you have no wingers, then maybe you have to change. You have to look for another system to play. But also the playing system is a start. And from on the moment the referee whistles, players start running. They leave, they change positions, they interact, they react on the opponent. So then a lot of things happens, and then you look at other automatisms, how to defend, how to make a good transition, how to do a counter attack, how you get to crossers, how you get dangers in the box, and that can be from different systems. And 4-4-2 sometimes looks a lot like 4-3-3. Depends really on the players and how you play it.
Of course, I'll stay with the same theme, and according to what you have experienced, which is the most used formation in the Uzbekistan league?
Yeah, Uzbekistan league, strangely enough, against us, they all think they have to play with 5 defenders, and that's a little bit new at the moment. Already maybe a little bit older, but they tend to defend a lot against us. I think we found a good way around it already. We have good players to go to still get dangerous, so that's, for us, it's no problem. You see now the German system, the 3-4-3, 5-2-3 system is getting more and more popular. So also in Asia, I see it in other countries also. So maybe that's because Germany plays it. That's why other coaches say, hey, we can play it as well. But again, then also you have to have the players for it to play it like that. So that's not always the same.
And I wanted to ask you, in the Uzbekistan league, you all are the champions and you all are very strong. But in Asia, it is not the same case. You have teams which are better than you. So how do you? What is the difference, playing in Uzbekistan and playing in Asia? How do you change?
Yeah, we found out that we shouldn't change too much. We changed a little bit in the last year. We did that, but it didn't turn out well. This year we don't change at all, and we're much better. So we tend to play our own game also against the strong teams. We saw against Al Hilal that it's possible that they have problems with that. So we were unlucky with that. We got a red card and we lost in this 97th minute. with 10 men, but we could have won that game also. So I think for no team in Asia, it's different. It's easy to play against us if we play our own game, and I think that's what we have to do.
Of course, and like I wanted to ask you, like you have traveled so much in with regards to football to Indonesia, and now you're in Uzbekistan. What is the most bizarre experience that you ever experienced?
And the most bizarre. For instance, I was technical director of the federation in Indonesia, and I was there only a few months when FIFA banned Indonesia for international games, but that meant that also trainer courses, all international projects had to be stopped. So that was quite bizarre because I was just there. I was just getting used to, I just got a little bit insight in how it worked, and then everything came to a stop. It was a pity also, especially for Indonesian football, because Indonesia, is a big country. Many people crazy about football, really crazy about football. So there's a lot of potential, and I would have loved to help them to develop the football in that country. And in that way, it was quite bizarre that it stopped in the way it did. So now luckily they're back to normal. So I hope and I wish them, all the Indonesians who watch your show, hopefully I wish them all the best and build football, because the people there deserve it.
Of course, I wanted to ask you, like you said, like since Indonesia has so many passionate fans, what about Uzbekistan? Do you have people following the local league, or do they follow only maybe Premier League or the La Liga?
Now you see when the football they follow the foreign leagues, the big leagues, they follow. They like football. When the national team doing well, that's full. So they follow that as well. So they've been a little bit disappointed now and then by teams from the domestic clubs not doing so well. Then you lose interest. But that's everywhere the same. But once teams doing well, the interest is there quickly. So we saw it with the Olympic team who won the Asian Championships 2 years ago. And many of these players, by the way, are playing for Pakhtakor now. So that's also the reason why we grew. That's also the reason why our team is relatively young. So have a lot of future ahead of them. So there's some good generations now coming up, and I think for the future the people will be proud again also on the club teams, on the national team. It's the national team now very close to qualify for the World Championships. It will happen. If not for the next one, it will happen for the championship after that. So I think they're close, getting closer, and once that happens, the people will be crazy about football and will support the team, I'm sure.
Of course, and like I'll move on to your career, and you've had a lot of good experience in your highs and in your career. Like but if you had to choose one moment from your career, which is the standout moment, which one would that be?
The standard moment is, of course, the first time I played in the national team. It was very special, and I was lucky because the Holland team, they won the European Championships in '88, and they had this big generation of talent. And after that European Championship, I was the first new player in the squad, and that was a big honor for me to be involved in that. And I think that was the highlight. Of course, I was lucky enough to win cups in different leagues, so I'm very proud of that. So, but the first game for the national team was special.
Of course, so, and like I'll move on to the end, and I have two more questions to ask you. And the first of the two are, if you had to give advice to a new coach who is just starting out his career, what advice would you give that coach?
Yeah, I would advise him especially to take care of his players, to be a friend to them, to be a father to them, to help them, to serve them. Don't think too much about your own profile, but be there for the players, because only the players can improve your own profile. I think that's the most important.
Of course, and like on that note, I'll ask you one final question, and this is quite controversial, okay? And if you had to choose one of these two, whom would you choose? Lionel Messi or Ronaldo?
For me, it's easy. It's Messi. He's a player. He's having something special that he bring in from birth. I think that's I never seen that before. I probably never see that after. But on the other hand, what I have to say, I have a lot of respect, a lot of respect for Ronaldo. The way he built himself into top class athlete, into a top class football player, and he still do that even when he's getting older. He's still strong. He's still improving himself, and I think that's a lesson for any young player who maybe doesn't have the intrinsic talent like Messi has naturally. You can still go a long way, and Ronaldo is a big reminder to that. Of course, he have a lot of talent also, but not as much as Messi, in my view. So, but he worked very hard, and he earned everything that he's getting at the moment.
Of course. So, and like on that note, Peter, thank you so much for talking to me, and I wish you all the best for your Champions League, which you have. I think day after tomorrow.
Thank you.
I think it's
Wednesday
yeah.
we play
Sorry,
the last group game. Yeah.
So
Yes.
best of luck for that, and hope you all can go on to win it. AFC. We never know.
Yes,
So,
you never know. You never know.
yeah. So, and hope we can talk again soon. Take care. Stay safe. Bye.
Okay. Yeah. All the best with your show, and see you soon. All the best to the people in Nepal.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye.
Player-wise, it would have to be Steven Gerrard, just because again, before he became a journalist, he was someone I just admired massively in terms of the absolute complete footballer. I think if you were trying to make a footballer in a factory, it would be Steven Gerrard, someone who, I think JB Carragher summed it up best once when he said, Steven Gerrard's biggest strength is he doesn't have any weaknesses.
The stadium. I don't see really need to do that. Mainly such a big spending. But it's true that it would be a fantastic stadium. That's not bad, but you have to be careful. And mainly at this moment, when we are going to face a very difficult time.